On this week's news, move over, Uncle Sam, because ICE wants you. Also, Trump's short of the deal is like Hugh Hefner writing a guide to celibacy. More on that later. Welcome back to Resistance Radio. I'm your host, Emma Embers, the autistic gender bender supreme, joined as always by gayish straight guy and super communist, Dane Snudden. And I was pausing because I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, no.
James, ChatGPT Harris.
For the record, if you accuse us of using AI, it's a joke. We don't actually consult ChatGPT on these things.
Because AI can be wrong, by the way. I don't know if people are aware of that.
Google got sued because their AI is consistently
Yeah.
wrong. And which is why every time some asshole uses Google AI summaries in an argument with me, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And also, Emma is taking over editing duties, so if the quality is better or worse, that is why. She's definitely giving herself a lot of work for the first run.
Yep, you can either blame or pat me on the back.
Our first clip that we have here was something that I covered on stream the day that it happened, Wednesday, I believe. Or no, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. ICE, like we said in the intro, is coming for you and me and your neighbors and your parents and your dogs and your cats. They are to the point.
Them.
Yeah, I mean, they're to the point now where even simply just protesting ICE, carrying around an ICE whistle, according to this administration, is grounds for a crime. So we're going to watch this clip here.
Federal prosecutors have announced criminal charges against 15 people in connection with anti-ICE protests in the Twin Cities earlier this year. The defendants are accused of, quote, conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers, unquote, during Trump's so-called Operation Metro Surge, which saw the deployment of thousands of federal immigration agents to Minnesota.
The fact that the U.S. Attorney's Office is trying to bring new charges against these individuals is not a surprise. It's part of their attempt to reframe a narrative and to claim that the federal agents were performing lawful functions and under attack when everything we saw on the ground was different. And so whether people were monitoring ICE, documenting, photographing, following, blowing whistles, or quite frankly, even impeding ICE, we stand in their corner and we support them here in Minnesota because they were here protecting our community. It's to spread fear and to encourage people not to stand up to ICE, and then it's to punish the people put into these federal prosecutions. Again, in Minnesota, 2/3 of the cases they've brought so far have been dismissed. But the financial toll, the toll on people's mental health, just the grinding process of taking on the federal government, being charged with a crime, the fear for your future, again, that's all part of making it so difficult for the people charged that they then send a message to other people, don't stand up to the brutality, the authoritarianism, and the growing fascism of the federal government.
Yeah, so you saw it there, right? Like, these are people that during Operation Metro Surge were documenting ICE agents, right? That were showing out to the street with these, right? Oh, guess I have to have the fucking DOJ come after me for that because apparently it's a fucking crime to protest against fascism. Like, we're at a point where we are literally coming after protesters, like people that aren't even doing anything. Yep. And like, they're saying, oh, like these Antifa-tied protesters, like, and there was a picture of a guy wearing a shirt that said, I am Antifa. And they were like, look it's an Antifa leader.
Yeah, no. So back in my younger days when I was on a lot of message boards and forums and the like, one thing that I got hit with a lot was always that I was a secret socialist. And people would be
secret.
like, people would be like, I'm going to expose you as a socialist. And I'm like, it's literally it was in my username at the time. And I was like, yeah, so I've never hidden the fact that I'm a socialist.
Right.
I don't understand why this is suddenly becoming an issue to you, but it's the same thing with Antifa. Like, we'll sit there and say, I am Antifa. And then they'll come in the comments and be like, I'm calling the FBI. And it's like, okay, good luck with that.
Right.
I don't have too much to add. I just want to say that protesting the actions of your government goes beyond American tradition. It's practically an American duty.
Yeah.
And you may agree or disagree with these anti-ICE protesters, but I just want to say that none of them were involved in trying to overthrow a democratically elected government.
No, literally. And also, I guess why this resonates with me too is because like those are comrades that are getting arrested. Like I may or may not know some of those people. You know, like that's the thing that's fucked up. And like they're literally just standing there doing their civic duty on the right side of history, and they're getting fucking jailed for it. It's unacceptable.
Well, it's like the personal level comes in all the time because it's like I said back when Renee was shot, which is, you know, she was in a lesbian partnership with another woman, and she cared about her community.
Yeah.
She cared about what the people that ICE was hurting, and she did something about it, and it got her killed.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me because I have friends who are lesbians that live in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that they're the type that would and probably were. I didn't ask because I don't want, incriminating or anything like that. But I know for a fact that they're the type that would be out there. So it very easily could have been my friends that ended up shot in the face instead of, and for a lot of people here, Alex Purdy was a friend who got shot.
Yeah.
So like.
And before you even start commenting about, oh, the officer was justified. No, they're literally not allowed to do this because that makes the vehicle more dangerous to everyone. Because guess what? It's pretty fucking hard to drive a car when you're dead.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is what we saw in the video for Renee Good, not to get too deep into it, but like when they shot her and she died, the car just careened off into something else that caused way more of a danger than it was before they did something about it.
But don't worry, the Trump administration is not confining its hot steaming turds to simply domestic policy.
Unfortunately.
We are taking fat shits over foreign policy as well.
I would have never given them $150 billion. I would have never given them the money. I would have never given. They're using it. They don't have to make nuclear. They can buy it. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money. And we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back.
The flaws in the deal also include insufficient enforcement and near total silence on Iran's missile program.
If other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some.
Ballistic missiles that could deliver nuclear warheads.
Sir, you shouldn't let them have any missile. I said, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to let Saudi Arabia have missiles, but they can't have them? Yes, sir. Doesn't work that way, you know? Missiles they hurt a little location, but they don't blow up the planet.
They were doing badly, and then we took the sanctions off. And we should have never taken the sanctions off before we finished the deal.
We have sanctions which will never let them rebuild. They would have no money. So something will happen as soon as they behave. When they behave, we're going to let that go. We're going to have to.
We're letting them, how about this one, self-police. They are going to tell us whether or not they're building nuclear weapons.
There's nothing enforceable in the deal itself. Is that correct?
Doesn't have to be. I let them know. I said, look, if you don't adhere to the agreement, I don't want to do that. But we're going to bomb the hell out of you.
2016 Trump was furious over Obama's nuclear deal. Yeah, Obama.
Hussein.
Dan, we need the voice. Barack
Hussein Obama.
Furious over a deal that gave $1.7 billion. Was it 1.7 given or was it 1.7 billion in unfrozen assets?
Technically speaking, it was 1.7 billion in unfrozen.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even giving. And now we went to war. We killed some terrible people, but a shitload of innocent people, including a girls' school that our AI incorrectly identified as a military base.
I mean, Hamas could have been under there. Who knows?
Caused global financial catastrophe, drastic cost of living increases in the United States in a time where it wasn't particularly easy to make ends meet to begin with, only to give them a much worse deal in every sense of the word, and throwing over $300 billion at an authoritarian, terrible regime that none of us support.
I also love the fact that Trump has like picked up on freshman level geopolitics and the fact that like if everybody has nukes, we're less likely to use the nukes.
The only
Like,
thing that can stop a bad guy with a nuke is a good guy with a
I mean,
nuke.
to be fair, like geopolitically, like that is, I mean, you've said it before on the show about like, you know, Ukraine, right? Like, you know, they didn't want.
Yeah, the smart move is the smart move. This is Emma's point, actually.
Oh,
The smart
yeah.
move is that if you do not have nukes, you need to get them.
Right.
Because if you don't have them, you will get fucked.
Right. Like with, like with Libya too. Yeah.
but-
yeah.
That's why I call it the Libya nuclear doctrine.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, though, the more people that have them, the more likely they are to get used. Like if
Right.
every crazy Second Amendment absolutist had one in their basement, you know, we'd be having a nuclear explosion every
The right
week.
to bear nukes shall
I
not
don't
be
know why I raised my
infringed.
hand. We're in class. But so quick counterpoint. Lots of shitty people have had nukes for a while and haven't done anything with them. So my only counterpoint to that is I really do think that even the crazies understand that they also lose if this gets fired. So
But yes, you're
but
correct.
also a lot of what we perceive, sorry, real quick. A lot of what we perceive as someone being crazy in foreign policy is also just propaganda from the US government.
Yeah.
Because they told us this about Iran, where they said they're crazy, they're the axis of evil, all that stuff, and yet they were being relentlessly attacked unprovoked by Israel, and they did barely anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like when we killed their general, how they basically said, "Hey, we need to save face. We're gonna shell this base at this time. Get your people out of there."
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's not how a crazy regime behaves. That's how an intelligent regime that understands their own self-interest looks. And when they understand their own self-interest, and then we're the ones that are acting like this, we're the ones that are being the crazy riot state.
Right.
I will say that like that is true to a point, but like even the most despotic of regimes, the person in charge realizes that if they use it, everyone loses. But you give enough people nukes, there is going to be someone who knows that, and that's the entire point.
Oh yeah,
like
introduce a little
some of the apocalyptic Zionists that are super common right-wing Christianity, you know, like the Hexas that think their duty is to kick off World War III to cause the second coming of Christ. Like, I mean, it's the smart move. That doesn't mean I have to like it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's kind of like, for me, I would prefer complete nuclear abolition.
Oh yeah.
Including nuclear energy, because
well,
I'm sorry,
that'll be we'll have to have a debate about that
energy,
a
like I
different
said,
time.
Yes, a different subject, but I'll just say real quick, my perspective on that is my grandmother from her front porch can see a nuclear silo close enough that the thumb trick don't work, which means if that thing goes up, she's doomed.
Yeah.
And it's happened enough time in history that it's not that unrealistic. Whereas the nuclear thing, only one country's ever used them, and it was us.
I will say that,
and that was 80 years ago.
I got to counterpoint. I got to push back a little bit. Even counting the accidents, nuclear energy has caused orders of magnitudes less death than coal. The problem is that until we get fusion online, if we stop using energy, billions of people will starve to death. We are in a world where the entire agricultural sector is an exercise in converting non-renewable energy into food.
Yeah.
Like, until we get fusion or something better, like, I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's just the least evil out of all of them.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of that stuff though too was like, you know, like with Chernobyl, like they were just being fucking idiots. Like they were trying to rapidly turn on and off like the core, and then they fucked it up, and then then it exploded.
Yeah,
it's a little more complicated. I've studied this.
But regardless, my point is that the level of devastation that it can cause when it goes bad is not worth the trade-off, in my opinion. That's
valid. We can have we'll have a nuclear energy episode.
Yeah.
Nuclear energy debate for the future.
Yes.
I don't know why I just made this roll all over the place. The other part of it is also that it's where nuance comes into play. I don't have to personally agree with it, just like guns. I hate guns personally. I don't want to deal with guns. Never, ever. Not my thing. However, I fully support people using guns if they're especially marginalized communities to protect themselves. Yeah. So nuclear energy, I don't like it, but it's what we have. So I'm not going to complain too much. But yeah,
this is definitely in the
Another
interests of
music,
not going on a tangent, leave that for a future
Yeah, yeah,
episode.
yeah.
But also, right before we started recording this episode, we got breaking news that even though
Shout out to Jay.
Yeah, shout out to Jay. Even though Trump personally traveled to Versailles, France to sign the surrender document to Iran, there's some symbolism there.
Surrender of the U.S., by the way.
Yeah.
We already the deal.
$300 billion. We can't afford healthcare, but we can pay $300 to solve a war.
$300.
God, if only it only cost that much. I'd be like, you know what? Fuck it.
$300 billion. We can afford to send that to surrender in a war that nobody wanted.
To surrender and then for Israel to violate
Yeah.
it.
It turns
Let's not
Iran
give too much away.
Iran has suspended the process because Israel has not quit attacking Lebanon.
I know what you're all thinking. This is breaking news. Israel broke another ceasefire deal. I get it. It's we cease, or you cease, we fire.
You mentioned your frustration with Israel striking in Beirut, hitting apartment buildings. If that continues, could it torpedo the deal? And what would the U.S.'s response be to a broader war in Lebanon involving Israel and Hezbollah?
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into hypotheticals that could torpedo the deal because I think the president's expectation is that all of our friends, the Israelis, the Arabs in the region, we're going to work together and actually see this deal to completion. Now, I saw the Axios report, that Netanyahu is fuming. That's not reflective of the conversations that I've had with him, but maybe he's saying something to somebody else that he's not saying to me. What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in. Thank you all.
Time for me to wake up and smell the reality of me finally agreeing with JD Vance.
I think what you're smelling is actually the shard of the deal.
It probably is. So, quick things to note here. He's actually correct on, I would say, most of it, except I would disagree with him that Bibi's not, like, I don't know. I guess every American president and vice president feels the need to suck off Bibi at least a little bit, even when they're being critical, because this is, having been on the ground with Dane and others doing the Gaza advocacy and everything, I saw firsthand all the times that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were talking about how they're working tirelessly, nonstop, every day, until we can't do anything else to get a deal done for Gaza.
Right.
How long did it take them to get that deal done? Oh, they never did get the deal done. It was like 2 years of not doing jack shit except defending them, enabling them, giving them the money and the weapons, and refusing to take those away. And what I'm hoping here is that this is where Trump's worst qualities might actually deliver the best outcome. Which is, if Israel keeps fucking this over for him and he gets worse and worse beheld here in the U.S. as a result,
you're fired.
Yeah, I think he might legitimately go, well, fuck y'all then. Like, because think about who Trump is. He can be mollified with his pocketbook to an extent, but there's also that very deep personal animus that he has.
If he feels like someone fucks him over, he will stop at nothing to get revenge on.
Yeah. He's literally suing E. Jean Carroll. He graped her, and a jury found him liable of that grape.
We shouldn't be laughing. This is an awful, heavy topic. We don't want to use these stupid words, but we've gotten shadow banned more than once
Trust me. Which part of this looks like I'm enjoying having to use these words?
It says volumes about the society where we live in, where we can openly discuss violence, murder, and the loss of hundreds of thousands of innocent lives casually. It's just that's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But we cannot discuss something like that. But here we are.
This is what I want everybody to take away from this. Ask yourself a simple question. What countries in the world will the U.S. government actively harm its own citizens to support and defend?
Yeah, I mean, is your life better off with us giving arms to Israel?
No.
Like,
whenever they tell you we can't afford to do healthcare and afford universal child care and housing the homeless and all this other stuff, they then turn around and do a $1.5 trillion military budget, which, if you haven't seen my past stuff on this, it's always double what it is on paper.
right.
When they do the rare audit, it always comes out double what it is on paper. So if it's already double of the 800 billion that it was before, now when they up it to 1.5 trillion, it's going to be double 1.5 trillion. So when they say you can't afford healthcare and all that, but you can afford to go bomb poor people in the Middle East for Israel, and then when you criticize the Israeli government for doing that stuff, you get punished in the United States of America for doing that. Whether
Right.
that's through Wisconsin has an anti-BDS bill and now an anti-Semitism bill that defines anti-Semitism in such a way that any criticism of Israel can be justified as one of the things, even if you're criticizing the government of that country. So again, you can criticize your own government here in the U.S. with fewer consequences than if you criticize the Israeli government.
Yeah.
I don't care about how you feel about Israel one way or the other. That shit should be wrong, even if you're a supporter of Israel.
Yeah.
We should have the right to criticize foreign governments, especially if we have the right to criticize our own government. And we should not be constantly putting our own lives, our own safety, our own futures at risk because of this Israeli government that has already showed itself to be completely out of pocket every time we run this stuff.
And I bet that's something that Subpar Joe and BSR would agree with too.
Well,
I doubt it, actually.
No. Well, I've seen.
I fucking doubt it.
I've seen a decent amount of pushback on this. And let's just be honest. You should have stopped supporting Trump a long ass time ago. But if you still support Trump following this, you are officially deluded.
Also, please donate your brain to science. We have to study that shit.
Yeah, it's like, you know how they say all orange
left?
cats share the same brain cell?
Yeah.
All MAGA doesn't share the same brain cell because they don't even have the. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to say that they do have fully functioning brains.
Yeah.
However,
The way it works is unknown to science.
Yes.
thank you.
Because
You're
look,
gonna like my
God
call
works
to
in
action.
mysterious ways.
he's done nothing that he said he was going to do except attack immigrants and queer people, but he's done nothing to make life better for anybody unless you're a billionaire. He's started a war nobody wanted. He's gonna throw away a shitload of money to stop the war that nobody wanted, if it's even in his capability anymore. And the one thing that he might hopefully do right, ending our relationship with Israel, is not for any of the right reasons and just because of how many other things he's fucked up. Like, what do you still see in this man?
Yeah.
Please
Also-
educate me. I need to understand how your fucking dumbass brain works.
Yeah. Also, so I've seen a lot of right wingers doing this now, and I just want to touch it because we might as well address it. Trump does not get credit for ending the war because he started the war.
Yeah, no,
Like,
definitely.
Like, it's an expectation that if you start a war, you need to end that war.
I don't get to make a mess in my parents' house and then I clean it up and then my mom comes home and I'm like, look, I cleaned up the mess that I fucking made.
If Trump gets credit for ending this war, we also need to remember Hitler is a great peacemaker of all time.
Yeah, no, apparently. He ended one of the most horrific wars in human history.
He killed a mass murderer.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Pew-pewed.
What's the over-under on if Trump ends, if Trump gets pissed off enough at BB to actually do something about it, that's the next pivot.
Or he posts like,
or that's when he finally dies of a stroke or something.
No,
and it's perfectly timed because everybody's expecting it to happen any day now anyway.
No, because damn well if Trump turns on BB, he's not going to turn anti-Zionist. He's going to go full anti-Semitic.
Yeah, well,
like,
of course.
no matter what this mandate is, you can count on it being in the worst possible way and for the worst possible reason.
We have to get wrapping up.
Yes, we got to make sure that Dan isn't late for work again.
Wow.
Believe it or not, we're employed, motherfuckers.
Yes.
Well,
We're employed.
some of us.
It's Pride Month. Girl don't gotta work. It's her month.
Yeah, thank you. I'm taking space and I'm holding space for myself.
Losing friends and finding peace. That's what you gotta say.
I don't know.
I guess.
I've collected like an infinity gauntlet of awesome friends since I've
6.
Well, it's not.
No,
it's
I
not a
know.
one-to-one.
Yeah.
You know.
Y'all are gonna like my call to action.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll go early. Be gay, hail Satan, and it's the ballot or the bullet, so save your shells for the ones that need them.
Oh, shit. Okay. Remember, the only difference between Chud and Chad is you.
Be loud, be proud, be unbowed, but also fuck Ronald Reagan because I didn't get to say it.
True.
Peace.